Welcome back to the Snowboard Project. I'm Mark Sullivan.
And I am the Beeve, and we got another episode coming at you right now from the Snowboard Project.
I've been looking forward to this one for a long time, Beeve. I don't know if you're as stoked as I am, but man, we got a special guest. Can I say that? Special?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I am stoked. You know, I'm a filmer, so I always appreciate a good filmer. We've had some greats on the show. We've obviously had Heine, we've had Trevor Graves, we've had Andy Wright going down the line.
Yeah.
And do you want to reveal who we have today, Sully?
Yeah, well, actually, the first guy to ask me to do this interview was Kurt Heine, the famous Mac Dog filmer. He's like, there's one guy I want to hear about, and that is Spencer Whiting. But you might not know him as Spencer. You might know him better as the Gimbal God. Yes, there he is. Right there, the Gimbal God himself. I am stoked.
How we doing?
Pretty good. Where are you right now?
I am in Locke, Switzerland.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, straight POW heaven.
Really?
Oh,
okay.
yes.
And you guys are there for a contest, though. Snowed out?
It's Locks Open, but they should rename it to like the Locks POW Open or something, because every year it gets canceled.
Right. And it's pretty cool, though, that like all the pros have a reason to gather, and you're like, okay, I guess I can film. Yeah. Right? I guess I'll film some shots. Have you been filming in the POW?
Yeah, we had one. We were in Austria before this. We had like 5 days of insane POW. Nice couple learning experiences for Stella and I, and then one day here, not as deep, but I think tomorrow mountain was closed today, and it's been puking for 3 days straight. No one's rode anything, so it's gonna be pretty sick.
By learning experiences, are you talking he sliced your gimbal in half?
He sliced my gimbal in half. I almost landed on him twice. He did land on me once. No injuries though. We're good. We're still vibing.
Good. So those are some of the challenges. Just some of the challenges of being a follow cam or follow me cam filmer. Do you make a lot of contact with the athletes while you're filming them? Oh
yeah, like it's a full like relationship, I want to say. You know, it's like couples counseling in a sense. We get mad at each other. I cut them off at least like twice a run. But like the POW stuff is tough because like my background's been all park, obviously. Honestly, as like a snowboarder, I haven't rode too much backcountry. I've done like back in my snowboard career, I did one POW trip to Jackson for 2 weeks, and then I've gone to Sonora up by Mammoth and Tahoe a handful of times, but I really don't have too much experience with filming POW follow cams. So it's kind of a entirely new world for me. So it's fun.
Okay, so what have you discovered so far? Like, what are the little tricks that you're discovering as far as following someone and filming them in POW?
I think the hardest thing is managing my speed with the rider, because they're usually turning and doing stuff. And even though I follow their line, you know, if they're doing like a butter or something, I gotta like slow down so I don't get way too in front of them. But then slowing down without totally smoking myself out, the camera, there's a lot of variables going on all at once. And then like I'm half the time I'm like not looking where I'm going. And like I was falling solid down a pillow line, and he smoked me out, and I was like, it felt like I was like whited out for, I don't know, like 2 seconds, which is kind of a long time when you're going down a pillow line and can't see shit. And I like hit a stump, or like, and the day before, the owner of the resort was telling us there's a lot of stakes, like metal stakes on this run. And I was like tripping. I was like, oh my God, dude, this is sketchy. And then I just slammed into like what probably was a tree stack, but luckily it was covered in 4 feet of snow. But it just came out of nowhere. So that's like one example.
It sounds like that could have been pretty dicey. Have you ever gotten seriously injured doing these follow cams?
Honestly, probably the worst injury I had was like right when I started. I want to say it was kind of the very beginning gimbal days, like maybe 2 months after we first got it. Eric Boschman wanted me to follow him doing a line, and he just told me he was going to do a front 10 on the first jump. That was like the plan, to follow that. And he somehow landed it first try. We didn't make a game plan for the rest of the run. And I assumed he straight aired the second jump, and that was all good. And I assumed he was doing a back 10. He was goofy foot, I'm regular. So I went on the inside, and so I was on the left side of the jump, he was on the right side of the jump. But this was like way before I would like make a plan with the rider on like drifting, where I'm going to be exactly, like just safety precautions kind of in a sense. And he did a back 10, but he drifted a lot. And in the air, I just remember, oh my, like, A, the shot's going to be fucked up, but 2, we're going to like die right now. And luckily, we didn't clip each other until 4 feet before we landed. So it was like, I was seriously 2 feet away from his board in my face, like the entire jump. And then right as we were about to land, we smacked each other. Like, he got probably the brunt of the injury, sadly. He like smacked his head, got a concussion. And then he had a helmet on, luckily. I didn't have a helmet on, which was probably pretty stupid. And then I smacked my shoulder pretty good. And it, like, I kind of had like a little AC tear. Or it probably was an AC tear. I didn't get it looked at, but that sucked for like 4 months.
Wow, that sounds pretty brutal. What is the typical distance that you want to be? Is there like a range of distance you want to be from the athlete while you're following them, or does it just kind of change depending on what you're trying to do?
Kind of just depends on what you're trying to do. You know, with most people, I try and be as close as possible. Like, there's like kind of 2 distances. It's like, if it's a contest and we're just trying to get clips for social or whatnot, then I feel like it's better to just keep a safer distance than to get too close and risk something happening, as like, you know, these guys are there to compete, not necessarily film. So there's kind of that difference. But if it's like, if you take the Folgafana shoot, for instance, where we're there to get the best shots possible, then it's more of a how close can we get without killing each other type deal.
Right. How many close calls do you have? Is like every day you're having close calls, or is it kind of like you really take the time to plan it out so you know exactly what's going to happen before it does?
I mean, you hope, right? You hope you can plan, but when you're going really fast on big jumps, I mean, it's like, I used to be terrified to straight air jump. I would not straight air jump ever. I'd always do a back 3. And like, it's crazy to me that like now I'm scared to do a back 3. So I'm like comfortable with it, but it's still like it fucking like kills me when the jumps are like super, super poppy. Cause like all the boys love it cause it helps them do these crazy tricks. But for me, I gotta like kind of border cross it, and it like bucks me, and I'm like, oh my God, like this is not half the like if there was a camera on, like I feel like half the time you see it on like the one facing me, because that's the audio camera. But the if there was a long lens, like I'm such a disaster in the air half the time.
Yeah. Luckily, we don't get to see you, and we just get to see these sick tricks, right?
Yeah, so that's what's up.
Now, are you primarily going out filming just for like social media, or are there other obligations you have to sponsors and different projects? Kind of tell me about that.
At least, like I would say, most of the time, social media. Like with Stale, we do like, and when I say social media, like Instagram or YouTube.
Right.
For Stale, we do like a little YouTube series, Day of Life, and then all the other stuff is like if we're filming Friends or Stale, we're trying to like get something to like stay relevant in this ever-changing media landscape. But
yeah, the game has kind of changed. Talk about that a little bit. Just when I was out back filming, you put a full-length video up on Vimeo, you know? And now
No,
it's like we're talking little clips, and you're probably at the forefront of that. Do you remember the first time you went like viral? You had something that, you know, gave you 100,000 hits, and you were like, "Holy shit, this is different." You know?
It's I don't know. It's kind of funny because I never intended to become this thing, right? Like, I remember the first shoot ever. I was interning for Snowboarder Mag, and Bridges called me up and said, "Hey, you're gonna start your internship today. You're filming Sage for Blackboard." And then I think it was Joe Carlino and Mike Yoshida were they were calling me Gimbal God over the walkie-talkies, like Gimbal God and Sage dropping in. And like I was like kind of bummed at it. I was like, "What? Like why are they calling me this?" Like what? Like I didn't take it as a good thing. But
right,
like they were making fun of you or teasing you or something.
Making fun of me. I was like, whatever.
Right. Oh, it's the Gimbal God up next.
Yeah, and
I know how it goes.
And I remember, like, anyways, back to your point. I think Big Air X Games, I did a follow cam with Kyle Mack, and I remember Snowboarder Mag posted it like right away. It got like 250,000 views, which for them I think is like a little more than average. And I was like I was pretty hyped. Like that was back when my handle was Spencer Whiting, and I was like, what? Like no way. I've never had a video like get above like 2,000 views. Like that's pretty wild. But I didn't really think too much of it. I was a really shitty contest snowboarder, and it's like I feel like you kind of gotta realize who there's good and great snowboarders. You kind of gotta realize who you are and pick your battles.
Right. How was it making that decision? I know, like, I know what it's like to be a filmer. You still get to kind of like live the life, but make that decision to like, I'm not going to be a contest rider. I'm going to go the film direction. Talk to me just about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just really, I didn't have the balls, honestly. It was like, I learned like 1080s around like when I was younger, like 16, and then I broke my ankle. And after I broke my ankle, like everybody just got so fucking good. And I was like out, I broke it in February, out for the season. And I remember I went back to Australia, and in my head I had like all these goals and shit I wanted to do. And I was so frustrated, like I couldn't make it happen. Like things were just not clicking for me. And like, you know, it's just kind of like the reality of most you know, up and coming contest riders. Like you don't get the funding. Like I don't come from an affluent background whatsoever. And it was kind of like, no, I didn't really have any way to make it happen. So kind of just decided to take a year off, was working at a sushi restaurant at Mammoth, just riding every day, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., go clock into work in my snowboard boots at like 4:15, go change, come back 4:45 and start at 5. That's kind of my grind for a year. And in that winter, Brandon Davis, who's like one of my best friends, I was living at his house, and there occasionally, you know, I could sleep on like his hotel room floor or whatever, and I'd just go and film for fun. Like I would just go to film Brandon, and like we started a little thing called the Mayhem Projects, and they were making videos for Shredbots. Drew Hastings was filming and editing, but if I could film, I would help out. And that was kind of it. There was like this really small company that's gone out of business since, but it's called Trace, and Sage was one of the riders for them. So they were actually kind of what put me with filming Sage. And then I remember one clip I made of Sage like around Christmas on my personal Instagram. I never had a video like above like 2,000, and I posted the one of Sage and it got like 14,000. I was like tripping. I was like, what, dude? Like I'm down. Like if I can keep doing, like that's cool. Like
totally,
people are backing it. But it's kind of been like a clusterfuck of, I don't really know what I'm doing, but things have kind of snowballed.
Right. When did you first start doing these the gimbal shots or the follow cam shots? When did you start doing that? What year was that?
Shoot, So like back when we were like doing contests and stuff, like I think we were like 15, 16, Brandon and I, we'd always just film each other, you know, for like our season edits, whatever. Like Brandon is actually just as good as me at follow gaming. Like he's super good. Like back in the day, he was like filming just as much as I was. We'd just switch off. And I remember my buddy who worked at GoPro, who's kind of the one who got me into filming and editing. He came to Mammoth one year and he had like it was on, you know, like the Scorpion mount that everyone puts like DSLRs on and films.
Yep.
So
the handle mount above.
Yeah, he had one of those with like a crazy like jerry-rigged prototype of a gimbal that the engineers at GoPro built. And he showed me a project that was going to be released in the fall. And it was him on a golf cart filming a dude running. And it was just, he just had the GoPro on the gimbal off the golf cart. And I looked at it, I was like, no, I was tripping out. I was like, dude, this looks like a red camera. Like it looks like something you could put in a Hollywood movie. And he was like, I was like, you shot down a GoPro? Like what? Like, dude, this is crazy. And this was back like Hero 2, Hero 3 time. And I remember like, anyways, I was in college. It was probably 2013. I was in class and I was thinking about how we just started the Mayhem projects, how to like get our videos like a little better or whatever. And I think, sorry, this is pre-Mammoth Mayhem days. You can look up those videos online. But I remember I clicked to my head. I was like, dude, that thing Davis has, like, what if we film snowboarding like that? You know, like it would make it so easy to make a GoPro footage look less shaky. And ended up looking online, bought one for like $300. And the first day we used it, Brandon, it was funny, we'd film like a turn and we're like, dude, that's so sick. Like, oh my God. And it was that year we kind of started doing it. This was like pre me going to any X Games or anything. We were just filming at Mammoth and whatever contest we were at. But I want to say it's been like 5 or 6 solid years of doing these follow games. So.
Cool.
So how long did it take you to get that dialed? Like how long until you were like, okay, I'm consistent now and I'm willing to let the athlete take a bigger risk just so like, it's experimental at first, but at a certain point you're like, okay, let's get your best tricks this way. You know, how long did it take you to get comfortable with it?
It's kind of like right away. I mean, like we'd always like follow cam with our phones or like, I mean, we've been like follow camming with some sort of camera, whether it be like a handheld little GoPro since I ever remember snowboarding really, whether it be like a rail line or whatnot. And for me, it was way less scary to do a double cork and just straight air the freaking jump than, just me do it myself. So there kind of wasn't necessarily too much of a curve in that sense. It was just like, hey, like I get to just hit the jump and ride X Games practice and not have to have any pressure or do anything. And all my friends, like, sucks for you guys, but like you guys have to go do 1260s and 1440s, but are you down if I film you? And at first there was for sure a little, there were a little, I don't know if I want you to follow this, like maybe like in a couple laps. And I'd be like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. And I remember like people would like make fun of me at like asking, oh, you have a GoPro on a pole. And like, I was like kind of like no one knew who I was. I was just Brandon's roommate, And yeah, so over the years, I think everyone trusts me a little more and there's a little more faith that we're not going to kill each other. So. Right.
Can you describe to me the kind of setup that you work with? Like, I know you have a pole. At least I've seen the shadow of your setup anyway. Yeah. I haven't seen your actual setup, but I've seen the gimbal there. Do you have a counterweight on that pole? I mean, describe the setup to me.
Right.
It's super simple. It is a GoPro. I've been using like the Hero 6, Hero 7. And then it's a monopod, like pretty much any monopod. I find that's like the easiest way to like attach it it's a tripod mount. There's a GoPro tripod mount thing. So I just screw that on. Karma Grip has a little ring that attaches to that mount. It straps on, so then you got the grip on the pole. And then I put the GoPro on there. I use these like Polar Pro filter things, which are kind of like sunglasses, just to like knock the shutter speed down on the GoPro to make it like proper film standards. And then the hack that I learned around when I started working with Stale was I was trying for like months to figure out a mic setup, because my whole plan was like, I love how skateboarding is just raw. Like you can watch a raw skate clip and it's so engaging. Snowboarding fucking sucks because there's wind and you're going so fast and you just like can't make it work the same. So I got so burnt out on the GoPro audio. I was like trying all these different things, like miking people up, but then like Stale doesn't want to ride with a mic in his pocket the whole time. And then like I was trying to actually like hook a Rode mic up to the Karma Grip to plug into the camera, but then you can't, like I was like jerry rigging. I like spent like $500 on like crap that didn't even end up working out, because I'm like splitting cables to like plug into the Karma Grip. Nothing worked. And then I think it was like I saw a video of like Tim Humphries with the Sennheiser MKE2, which is essentially, it's a backpack for the Hero 4, and he filmed a headcam clip with it, and I was blown away by the audio. I was like, dude, you can like clearly hear the wind, like it's not over, you can hear his board, you can hear everything. So I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna put that on the pole and sync the audio. So I like put the Hero 4 audio on the shot from the gimbal, and then and that's basically, that's the setup. So originally it was the Hero 4 facing the gimbal, facing Stale or whoever's riding. And then Stale one day was like, dude, why don't you just like point it back at yourself? So if we fuck up, then like we can like have the whole clip. And then, so that's the setup now, is there's a camera facing me with an audio mic on it that's connected to the Hero 4. There's a Hero 7 and a Karma Grip on the end, and then Premiere, I sync that footage from the Hero 4 to the Hero 7. That is the trickery.
All right. Cool. Do you get any hookups from GoPro? Has GoPro reached out to you and said like, hey, can we sponsor you? Can we give you free gear?
Yeah, it actually took forever, but this year I have a deal with them, so I have like a 1-year deal. So
good.
And it's like, it's kind of cool because it's a deal that I really believe in. Like, it's not like I ever did it for the money. It was I had been buying and using their products forever. I'd gotten a couple free ones over the years, but they finally kind of like recognized the stuff I was doing. And Davey Schmidt from GoPro, he actually put me on all good. But Davey Schmidt from GoPro actually, he put me on my first paid trip ever to Australia with Torstein, Jamie, and Sage, and things started kind of rolling from there.
Cool.
Have you played around at all, now that you're a GoPro, I guess, professional filmer? Have you played around with the 360 camera, and what do you think of like the 360 filming? Where does that, what role is that going to play here in media moving forward?
I have like personally, I'm not the biggest fan, honestly. Like, it's cool for some things. I think Abe Kisselvitz does a really good job. He has like a head cam, and he has like, it's about like a 6-inch extension off of his helmet. He puts the Fusion on top of that, and it basically allows you to capture all the angles. So you can get that like out of body, like everything, and then it really enables you to crop for stories and vertical and stuff. I just don't think, for the fast, quick turnaround content when you're filming so much, it takes forever to render the files, like even on the fastest Mac you can buy. And it's so time consuming, and it wouldn't enable me to get my look that you see on Instagram. So I kind of haven't been too much of a fan. Stale and I messed around with it the other day in the POW, and I think there's potential, but it's such a hassle to work with for me that I don't know. I haven't really been an early adopter of it. That's for sure.
Okay. So what kind of stuff do you see like evolving into as far as your filming? You said you have a look, a feel. We've seen a lot of your clips, and you're definitely following them. And now we've seen stuff where they follow you. What's next?
Honestly, I'm not. At least what's next for me is honestly just having fun with my friends. It's pretty crazy that I even get to do this as a job or whatever you might call it, but I really want to get into backcountry, hitting in air backcountry jump follows. That's kind of my next forte, I guess, that we're trying to accomplish. It's tricky, but Stolly and I got one shot over the last 5 days that it's pretty sick, that we're hyped on, that we're actually saving for his project that we've been working on for 20 months, actually, that we haven't told anyone about, that I guess that we can start talking about a little bit. But it's coming out around US Open time. So pretty excited about that. Little different concept to your average snowboard video part.
Can you tell us any more about it, or is that all you can say?
That's pretty much it. I mean, Stale's been thinking about this for 5 years. It's actually how he hired me. I was working for Oakley just for the week, and I hadn't talked to Stale the whole time. I was honestly terrified of him. I was just like, oh my God, it's like Stale. Like, he looks all serious and like gnarly. We like didn't talk the whole time. Then we ended up like having a couple of beers on the last night at dinner, and he like came up to me. He's like, I have this idea for a project. You might be the guy. You want to go to Locks with me tomorrow or like in 2 days? And I was like, yeah, like I'm down. Like, okay, like let's go. And then so he bought my plane ticket to Locks, get to Locks. It was actually finals week of school for me. I was in my 3rd year of college. I kind of made the like rash in the moment decision to like just say, screw finals. I'm not doing any of these tests. I'm just going to work my ass off for Stale. Dropped out of school that week, just pumped out edits and videos for him. We filmed the first RK1 Locks. And then I like told him, I was like, dude, I want to put this out on Monday. He's like, what, Monday? And it was like Saturday. And I edited most of it by Sunday, but I was like, dude, fly me to Norway. I'll finish it at your house. And then like, I want you to see it before we leave, because it's not going to be the same if we're not together. So he flew me to Norway, stayed up for like 48 hours straight, finished the video. He was like blown away, like, holy shit. Like, it was like one of his favorite videos that he's filmed. And it's kind of funny. After that, I kind of just convinced him to let me work for him. That's kind of how it happened.
Well, let me ask you this.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I got a question, which is like, it seems like back in the day, everyone would kind of hold their footage like all season and then do their edit over the summer, and then September at the big trade show, ASR back then, or whatever, you'd have your premieres and everyone would see what you did last year then. It sounds like you had this amazing edit of Stale and you put it out like the next Monday. Was that one of the first instances of like really dropping something right when it happened, or was that already kind of going on?
Well, I think the thing is, like, when you're like in this day and age of social, it's like you post all these stories and like everyone knows you're at Locks, everyone knows you're filming, they know the pros are there, they're hyped on it. Like, the hype is right then and there. It's April, you know, once you hit May, nobody cares about snowboarding, everyone's in summer mode. And then when you get to fall, you're like, there's so many personal projects and movies these days that like, what's a video from Locks really going to impact when you have Landline? And like, not that Landline came out then, it came out in January, but you know what I mean? Like Snowboarder Mag Movie, all these like crazy projects that are traditional media projects. But if it's a smaller, more like location-based edit. My theory is that if you can turn it around with the highest quality editing that you could do in that amount of time, as quick as you can do it, right then and there, when the people know you were there, the hype is real and it's a really good edit. I mean, that's like, everyone wants content now this day and age. Like, people are freaking vlogging every day, putting out a video every day. Like, Unelson, I think for 2 years, put out a video every single day and grew his follower base on YouTube all the way up to 1 million followers. I mean, and that unfortunately and fortunately is where things are going. It's just like more content, more this, more that, which it gets saturated and whatnot, but you're essentially building a platform to publish, because if you look at the traditional snowboard videos, they're not necessarily getting the attention and the views that they were getting 10 years ago.
No, it's crazy. Totally. You'll put out a single clip and it'll get like 10 times the amount of views than a video that was put out then worked on all season long. You know, I've been kind of blown away by like just how the media environment has changed. So tell me, like, what is your take on like the overall media landscape? Because we used to have this traditional model where everyone film all season then release it in the fall. Now we have Instagram where people are putting out clips. Now we have short video projects, long video projects that come out in the fall. We have personal video projects. We have 1-minute clips on Instagram. How do you like size up the whole kind of video landscape in snowboarding?
I don't know. I think that the tough thing in snowboarding is like, I don't really agree that snowboarding really has its own identity yet. I feel like it's still like surf is surf. Surf has a huge fan base. Everyone surfs. Skate is skate. Huge fan base. Everyone skate. Snowboarding's kind of the like younger brother that everyone picks on. And it's the newest of both of them. Or all three of them. And it was, I feel like the golden era of snowboarding was like 15 years ago, when it was like the hype was there, you know, Terrier boycotted the Olympics, all the X Games was happening, like the progression was so relatable. Like people were doing like 540s and 720s and stuff. And then I feel like it kind of took a dip, but I feel like it's on the come up. I don't know. I recently watched the new Vans video, and it's like, that is something from the traditional landscape that is fucking amazing. Like straight up. Like I love watching that stuff. But in order to like create for like this new viewer that like wants everything all the time, and like skateboarders are able to film like these crazy tricks like 100 times in a row and get it perfect right then and there, it's just like not possible with snowboarding. So you kind of like, I feel like everyone with like all these different short projects, long projects, location edits, vlogs, like whatever you want to call it, it's kind of everyone's like figuring it out right now. There's not really like a set medium that works. But I feel like for me, I'm just kind of trying to play the game and kind of like see what works, see what doesn't. You know, like IGTV dropped in June, pretty much a flop. You know, we did a couple of those. Everyone, I think, agrees and realizes that it didn't really work out. Right. You know, like I would say 99% of the core industry thinks the whole like vlog thing is whack as fuck. But like, dude, the vlogs aren't for them. They're for your person who's at the gym running on their treadmill and trying to pass time and has never seen snowboarding, and the video pops up. Oh, what's this? Clicks on it. Oh, whoa. They're doing all these tricks. Holy crap, that's so cool. I ski. That makes me want to buy a snowboard. I'm going to go buy a snowboard now. I want to try that out, you know? Like, right. So you got to like, the idea is to just bring more people into this amazing thing that we got going on, right? And I think it's funny when the core industry hates on that, because like, it's like, dude, this isn't for you. We're trying to just get more people involved and hyped. It's not like, I don't give a fuck about the followers or the views or whatever, but like when a kid comes up to you and is like, dude, I literally have skied for 10 years. Your videos made me buy a snowboard. I went snowboarding for 3 days. It's the best thing ever. It's like, holy shit, dude. Like, wow. Like I never thought in a million years that could happen. Like that, and that's why I do it. And like, I don't know. I think where things are going, I have no fucking idea. We could have a new fucking Instagram tomorrow called fucking whatever black box that, you know, like we don't know. But I think you you got to do your research and stay relevant. Otherwise, you know, it's kind of like anything, right? Like 20 years ago, no one thought there would be an iPhone, and what am I freaking doing this podcast on right now?
And now you got a red phone, right? Red phone?
I do have a red phone. To be honest, I haven't used it much. I used it for that one video. I'm not partnered with them in any way. It's a rad phone. Insane screen. The video on it is not necessarily the coolest thing in the world. It's super good, but it's up to what your normal iPhone would be. I think the coolest part about it is in about a year from now, there's going to be a module that you put on the back that they're claiming is going to be an actual red sensor that you can attach any camera lens to. And they're claiming it's going to be better than every professional camera on the market other than their own Redline. So that's what I'm really excited about. But that won't come out till December next year or around that time.
Gotcha. Hey, okay, so I got a question for you. You quit college, right? You just up and took the risk to quit college and become a filmer and do this GoPro thing, right? Tell me a little bit of just kind of about the different tiers of monetization. How do you make that work? Does Stale hire you or do you have a number of different partners that you partner with?
Pretty funny actually that you say this, because like right before Stale hired me, I was actually working with a travel agency based out of New York City, and my buddy was the creative director of them. In January of that year, I was like, you know what? I'm going to finish school this semester, and I'm going to work for these dudes. Like I bought my first DSLR, started like going out every sunrise, every sunset, shooting landscape photos, like figuring out how to use the camera. Right. And in March, they hired me for their first video. They're like, Davis was like, hey, I have 2 terabytes of footage. It sucks, but make this video. I'm not going to pay you. But if like the creator who was doing it was actually this kid named Sam Colder, he dropped out on doing the edit, and Davis gave it to me, and it was all the footage that Sam had filmed at this place in India. And Sam Colder is like this kid who has like, when I started following him, he had like 100,000 Instagram followers. I think he's up to like 1.2 million and like doing crazy stuff in the travel industry. Right. But I did that video for him. I worked like maybe like 150 clocked hours on the edit, delivered it. Davis offered me a job that same week that I was filming Stale and the Oakley guys. My plan was to quit snowboarding and go live in New York City in May. And then in between that Locks trip and the first ever trip I went on with Stale, I went to New York City. I met with Davis. He offered me the job, like salaried, all that. And I flew to Corvatch to tell Stale that I was going to tell him, I was like, hey, dude, I got this job. Like, you need to hire me like right now for that amount, or I am going to go do that. Like, I wasn't even thinking about like snowboard follow camps as a living whatsoever. I had no money. I was sleeping on hotel room floors. Like, I remember I bought my first DSLR, maxed out all my credit cards. And then I applied for a new credit card, and those idiots gave me a credit limit of $10,000. And I used all $10,000 of it to basically get to the US Open, get to all these events, to film and shoot photos and lifestyle and all that. And I think by the time Stale hired me, I was like $20,000 in debt or something. And I was just like determined. I was like, dude, I'm gonna make it back, like whatever. And Davis offered me the job. I was hyped. I was like, okay, this is a way to like at least make some money filming. It wasn't for a lot of money, but I was like, you know what, New York City, like I'm gonna hustle for a couple of years. I don't really want to live there full time, but like if I have to do it, I will. And then Stale kind of was like, fuck, dude, like this, like I gotta do this now, and he ended up hiring me. And that's how that rolled. So it it wasn't like I thought I was gonna make money with a GoPro or anything like that. It was like I was just trying to hustle and make a living in video. And like fortunately, Stale came along, because if so, I don't think this whole Gimbal God follow cam thing ever would have happened.
Sure. So Stale is your main employer, and you get to go all across the world. You get to see some cool places. You said you've flown all over the place. Talk to me about some of those places. What are the places that you've really enjoyed seeing, that you've really been able to film at, that you've liked, I guess? I
mean, it's like we've been to a lot of places over the last like almost 2 years now. Honestly, my favorite spot is right in this third floor of Locke's Riders Hotel right here. There's like there's like a little table on the second floor that overlooks everything. That's like my favorite spot to edit. I've like that's where I cranked out the RK1 Locks, my first edit for him. I edited the 2017 Stale year edit, the 2018 Stale year edit, and like countless Instagram videos and stuff. Locke's probably my favorite place. Norway, Folgafana, best lighting, most insane sunsets I've ever seen. Probably the best film session of my life. I've never seen so many tricks go down in 2 afternoons, or should I say between 8 p.m. and midnight.
Right. It's like the golden hour is 3 hours long.
Oh my God. I mean, as a filmmaker, you're kind of like shitting your pants the entire time when you're like, oh my, like, let's go. I think I hit that jump. I have 158 clips from that jump. And that's, I hit the jump clips, and then I probably sessioned that jump by myself, just doing sketchy methods and indies, and for like at least 30 times. So that was like 200 jumps in 4 days or something.
What is your ratio of like keepers to throwaway clips? Like how often are you getting a clip that you're actually going to use versus the ones that just end up on the cutting room floor?
It's kind of, it's tough. There's a lot of stuff on hard drives that probably, people would be hyped on Instagram, like simple stuff, but it depends what you're filming for, right? If the goal is a YouTube video and you're showing the day in the life, then they're kind of, it's like whatever is a land that Stale is okay with and likes, we'll put up. But when it comes to like his project we've been working on for 20 months, I mean, the project's not that long. It's going to be 4 minutes in total. And, it's been really tough to get the shots. There's a lot of shots in there that people haven't seen before. Like 3 of the best tricks from that fauna session are not in anything that are in that video. So,
stay tuned.
Best tricks and 2 of the best fall cams of my entire life were done on that jump that no one's seen. So I'm pretty like hyped. When does that drop? Around US Open, if we finish. It's like 75% of the way done, and ideally we get a backcountry line or POW follow jump or something. I don't know. We don't know. It's that's kind of I feel like how a lot of snowboarders seasons go. You can't really plan a video part, but that's the plan is to basically February stitch this thing together and get the last couple hurrahs that we'd be stoked on and put it out in Feb. The original date was New Year's of last year, and then we were like, that's not going to happen. And then it was like after Olympics, and then we were like, that's not going to happen. And then it was New Year's this year, and we were like, that's not going to happen. So like, hopefully it's US Open.
By 2020, January 1st, 2020. Worst case scenario.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so you said there's like 2 clips of Stale though that are going to come out in this video that no one has ever seen. You have clearly been on the front line of progression of the sport of snowboarding now for a couple of years. What inspires you as far as tricks, and where do you see it going as far as like moving forward, and where the progression of the sport's going to go next year and the year after?
Style, make it look good. I don't really care what it is, make it look good. Like I think Stale he's on the forefront of making a 180 or a method look better than 99% of everyone's triple corks and quad corks. You know, he just won Dew Tour without a triple cork, which I think is kind of a nail in the coffin to like, let's stop that progression of triples, quads, whatever comes after quad. I don't even want to be able
quintuple,
to say that.
2,700. Come on, 2,700s.
Yeah. Like, I think it's so whack that like all these big air contests are happening and it's like, oh, let's do this fucking 1620, 1,800. And it's like, I can't even fucking relate to that. Like, how is, you know, Joe Schmo from, you know, Kansas ever going to think that's cool? He's like, oh, whoa, gymnastics on what snow? Like, no, is that how we want our sport to be seen as? Like, why can't big air? Like, and you got these judges who are always like, oh, like, we want to see style and like this and that. And it's like, then you fucking give it to like a back 10 mute or a back 14 mute. It's like, fuck you guys. Like, I think like the whole judging, I am friends with a lot of the judges and they're rad dudes, but it's like, I think there needs to be like a younger crew in there that's like, hey, you know, that 540 was fucking insane. Like, I guarantee if in big air you had to do one judged 5 or like, let's say 720 and under, or you could even go 900 and under, and then whatever you want to do, and that's your final score. The entire top 3 would be in a totally different podium. And it would be a podium that I think would be right for snowboarding way more than like what it is.
Yeah. So
would you say that among the people that you're filming, among the crowd and your crew, that this sentiment is, you know, shared among all you guys? That it's like, I don't really enjoy going out and doing a triple, but I'm have to do it.
I'm not really gonna, if you're like, hey, I can do a triple cork, want to film it? I'm gonna be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I like, if you really look at my account, there isn't much of that. It's more of the mellow, cruisy stuff, like what I see good snowboarding as. And I'm no expert. Like, I'm just me. Like, you could fucking hate on me. You could hate on what I'm saying. You could be like, screw that guy. But guess what? Like, I don't fucking care. It looks good to me. And like, that is what I think people should be doing more of. You got guys like Rene Renacongas, Marcus Cleveland, making fucking 180s and 360s that people are mind blown on. Why isn't that rewarded in contests? Like, it's fucked up. Like, I don't, that's something I'm really passionate about. I think if we are to make snowboarding back into the new glory days, like, we have to like be more cognizant of like what we're rewarding and what we're, you know, putting on the podium and who we're putting in front of the public. And, you know, if the judges are gonna keep giving 95s to, you know, back 18 quad cork mute grabs, then like, that's where it's gonna go.
Right. And it seems like, you know, you mentioned Marcus Cleveland, Renacongas, Stale. Who are the other guys you see pushing the sport in that direction versus the triple 14 meatballs that seem to dominate slope style and big air contests?
I mean, like, if you're talking contests, I think those are some of the raddest dudes. Mark is also one of it. Like, Mark is a guy who has all the crazy tricks. He's super stylish, knows how to freaking do a good 360, good 540. A lot of the top dudes, you like, if the big air format was a 5 or a 900 and under and whatever you want to do, you'd still see Marcus at the top. You'd still see dudes like Stale at the top, Torgeir, Bergrum. Like, you'd see a lot of the same dudes, but you just, instead of seeing those dudes in 4th and 5th, you might see them in 1st and 2nd, you know?
Right.
Like, I guarantee if you even like Sven, like if he did his, you know, back rodeo Japan crazy tweak and then did like a, you know, back 16 or whatever, or like, you can't go backside, so you'd have to go like ideally front 16 or something like that. But you know, you'd still see him at the top of the podium. Like, and if we're just talking, that's just contest riding. Then you got dudes like Nick Baden, who is a contest rider, but like one of the most stylish snowboarders in a traditional sense. he won Rookie of the Year this year for a reason. And him, Sage, Red, Ben Ferguson, like, and Ben is one of the dudes in the half pipe who I just love watching. Like, I've always looked up to Ben as like when I was back in contest snowboarding, and like I love the fact he does like a indie nose bone into the biggest air to fakie and then into his run. You know, he already adds the style element. I was really bummed at Dutour that, especially in the teen challenge, he like didn't get rewarded. He went massive, like huge, put style into his run, everything perfect run, gets like a 55. Like, dude, are you fucking kidding? Like, I don't get the snowboard contest, but then like Sage in the backcountry, like you gotta like Blake Paul. I mean, there's so many dudes who are doing it right, and like Nils and Hans, and I think that it'd be rad if more of the spotlight was kind of shined on those kind of dudes, and you know, like they focus just as hard on making a simple trick look perfect and stylish as the dudes who train and do these like crazy triple and quad quarters and all that stuff.
Right. So what tricks are you looking at where you're just like, do you know immediately when someone lands a trick where you're like, okay, that was something new and in the right direction? Or are you like, oh, that was like an 1800 quad, delete clip?
No, I mean, like the quads they're still like, I still respect them. Like, those is like from a human point of view, it's fucking amazing. Like, it's crazy that like in no way, shape, or form am I not respecting that. I think it's tough to be like, that's where snowboarding should go. You know, like I think that like I don't want to come off as like completely like disrespecting and hating the dudes that are doing that. It's rad in its own way. I don't necessarily see snowboarding going that way. I think it's really cool to see stuff that is done proper. And I think if more emphasis was done on like properly executing tricks with different grabs, tweaks, pokes, whatever, like I'm just as happy to see like a sick indie nose bone off a little roller as I am a back 10 also done with a stylish grab on a jump. Like there's not really anything I'm necessarily looking for. It's like, as long as you make it look good, and I'll try and be as close as I can to give the view that I like. Cause like the whole thing with follow cams for me is like, I only started all the angles that I do, or it's kind of like how I would have wanted someone to film me snowboarding, but thank God they're not filming me because I do not look that good, but in front of the camera. So I am super fortunate that a lot of the people I ride with have that gift and natural talent to be able to do that.
Let me ask you something. Do you think it would be possible to get a collective, group of riders together to come together and say like, hey, we're going to do a contest. We're going to host a contest. We'll present it to our sponsors to put money behind it, to back it, to do something that's completely different. And we're not going to, allow more than a 900, and we're going to focus on style, and maybe we'll just all judge it ourselves. I mean, is that something that could be possible?
I think it's yeah, for sure. And I think you still want to have like one of the jumps or two of the jumps be something like, hey, like you want to do a 16 or an 18, do it there. Like, sure. But you got the rest of this course to like put your style into it. Cause I think that's insane, right? Like if you see someone like Stale, his front 5 stale fished method land into a cab 16, that's also like fucking insane. That is a hole. If it like Torgeir's a perfect example. Last year at Spring Battle, he did front 10 to back 16 into a switchback 5. Like his film contest, this is what I want to do. I don't want to do more than that. That's my run. He ended up getting 3rd place. I think he should have won, he did the biggest rotation of the entire contest. but the judges didn't put him in second or first because he did the switchback 5. I was like, all right.
Which is the coolest trick just about done.
Switchback 5 method.
Right.
Exactly. The coolest trick in snowboarding, and you're going to give him third place. Like, I don't know. I don't really get judging when it's like that. And then you're always going to have like judges are going to roast me for this, but like I don't really care, you know, like say it to my face. I'll have a conversation with you. I'm not scared. Let's go. I think that if there was more of an emphasis on what Tour Gear did at Spring Battle in the main events, I think all the athletes would be really stoked on it. I think it would be easier to separate them because you would see who has style and who doesn't. And in the end, you would have a better podium. But I think the main reason it's tough is that it's hard to get sponsor money, and it's hard to convince the national teams and because everything's Olympics and, you know, this and that. And there's so much money involved that it's really hard to change the rule book and change, you know, different aspects. I think X Games doing you have to spin frontside switchback, and then you also have to spin backside or cab. They've recognized that it is a similar direction. A lot of people are way better at cab and backside than frontside. Yep. So I think that's a good start, but
Sounds confusing.
I would really like to see a bigger contest. Yeah, it's super confusing. There's a lot of variables in play for sure.
My idea is to have a slope style with 3,600 degrees of full rotation. Right, so you got to do like a 1440, but then you can only do a 360 after that because you don't want to blow all your rotations.
That's pretty sick. I think a bit like if you had a contest that was like you drop into the modified pipe, that was at Dew Tour. I think that was one of the cool. I think Dew Tour actually had one of the coolest contests in snowboarding this year with the modified pipe. I think the judging was a little interesting. Like, I think a lot of the half pipe riders would agree. I'm not going to say anything more than that, but I think I think for a lot of the riders, it was one of the most fun and unique courses they've rode. I know, like I talked with Chloe, she said she loved it. A lot of the boys loved it. But I think if you took that idea and instead of having these two events, right, like, you know, right now it's like, oh, there's big air, there's slope style, there's slalom, there's this, there's that. Like, why do we have so many disciplines? We're all snowboarders. Like, let's drop into a modified half pipe, go into a bank slalom, hit a couple rails, and then 2 jumps at the end. And whoever can freaking do that the best is the best damn snowboarder. And then you could, like, push all that money that it takes to, like, do all these events and get all these people there at those times. It's just like, hey, this is what you're watching. This is the snowboard contest. And it's, like, way simpler for your audience and the snowboard, like, but that's pretty far-fetched in the sense that I don't think anything of that sort's going to be changing anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest obstacle to change right now is the FIS. I mean, just the fact that it's Olympics and they need to have like these standardized courses that they can easily define. Makes it difficult to try out new formats, new judging, new ways to judge and all of that. And so there's like this incentive to have a half pipe be exactly 500 feet long and 22 feet deep and 3 jumps and 3 rails, you know, as a slope style. And you see every one of them's like that. And I think that what you propose right there is like have an all around contest. But it's like, is the money going to get behind that if they know it's not going to be in the Olympics? You know, I'm not sure.
That is, you're right on the money with that. And I think the thing with FIS is I think they're doing a good thing in the sense that they're like the one tour kind of in snowboarding. Like, sadly, like, it's sad that like that's the only proper like tour that like gets you to the Olympics right now, you know? Like, they call it Dew Tour, and it's one event in the whole year, you know? And then like
there were
X
3
Games is one event. And it was sick when there were 3, but then they kept the tour in and they just cut everything. And you know, I think like it used to be like the Burton like Global Open Tour. You know, it was like there was an Australian Open, a New Zealand Open, European Open. I think there was even like I want to say there was one in China. This was before I was in any of those. And then like I think all the tours have kind of dwindled down to this where FIS is kind of, it's the only option to really for a lot of these contest riders, and it's one of the only tours that like at least has some money for these contest riders to get. So then they fall into like, hey, we have to learn these tricks, whether or not, like, I think a lot of the riders do them and aren't even necessarily that stoked on them. They'd rather do the more stylish stuff, but it is kind of the only option right now.
I mean, is it going to take like a Terrier to come along and just say, I'm boycotting all these tricks and just doing these tricks, like a Haldor to come up and be like, nope, I'm going to tuck knee nollie double front off of this thing, you know, or whatever. I'd be like, that doesn't fit any rules, any way to judge that you would acknowledge, and yet for some reason in my heart of hearts, I see that as the raddest thing or whatever.
Maybe we just need a governing body that's run by real snowboarders.
I think that's what we need. The thing I think that's tough is there's a lot of politics involved, and there's not a lot of money. I think, you know, like if I had a bottomless bank account and it was like, hey, all right, here's $20 million. Like, let's get the resorts, let's get the sponsors on board, let's get X Games on board, and let's do it. Then it could happen next season. But like, who's, you know, like if the freaking idiot who donated $20 million to the GoFundMe for Trump's wall could give that to snowboarding, you know, like I think we could have a better outlook on.
Why don't we GoFundMe a new? Let's GoFundMe a new governing body and just throw out every single sponsor, every board builder, every binding maker, like everybody, every Red Bull. Fuck it, you know.
Let's do it. I'm down. Let's start it tomorrow. Why not? It's the age of GoFundMe. There's one every time.
Yeah. And what's the worst that can happen? The event series fails and we learn a ton? Screw it, right? Like, as long as it's a learning experience, then you know how to do it better next time.
I think it's more, it's a lot of time involved, you know? Like, that is its own job in itself. And I think like a lot of the snowboarders are kind of burnt out on the politics. I know, like, I don't need to name anyone, but I think, you know, some people have been involved in the politics in it, and it's just too much to think about when those dudes got to think about, hey, we got to focus on this thing we're actually paid to do, which is snowboarding. And I think that's important. I don't necessarily think that like this is the contest riders' problem. It's kind of the brands and the people that are pushing them down this rabbit hole, you know. And you know, I hope that, like, you know, with my style of filming, I could at least shine light on like some of the people doing things in a cool way. I think it was really special for me to get to like ride with Haldor and even to take a couple laps with like Ben Ferg at US Open. That, like, just watching him he like turned down the entire public park at Vail and didn't hit one rail, just ollie, carved, slashed, hit jumps, like made it look so cool. I think that was the most viewed video of the US Open. It had like 187,000 views on my account, and that was way more views than any of the slopestyle runs, any of the half pipe runs or whatnot. But I just think if you can, like, that's relatable to people, right? They're like, hey, I never even thought about olling over the rail and doing a 180, and then like, whoa, he did like that cab 2 to slash, and then like came through the snow. Like, I could maybe learn how to do that. I think that's, you know, where my point on making contests a little more relatable.
I want to say that to the RK1 edit that you did out in Locks, I remember making the comment to Mark and just saying like, man, that just looked like a lot of fun, and there were a lot of tricks in there that were totally you could do. I think you did a 180 into the woods and a 180 out, and it was just like you're just following it. It was a good time. So, you know, keeping fun at the forefront of snowboarding, you know, I have to applaud that in that edit. You know, it came through, obviously.
I mean, I think you made a very good point there, which is like, I grew up in the glory days of snowboarding, right? And worked in snowboarding in the glory days. And so one thing that I remember is like literally you'd watch a video, a Mac Dog movie, whatever, and literally that Saturday you would go out and try those tricks. And it's like, good luck with that 14, guys. Whereas your clip where you're carving, ollieing, backside, two-set, whatever, just like stuff that's attainable, you know? And to me, when I was watching videos back then, it was all attainable snowboarding. And now today, I don't see a lot in terms terms of contest riding that is attainable to like the average rider. In fact, I would say it just like it almost discourages you because you're just like, I'm never going to be that good. How the hell do those guys get that good? I'm never going to go there. No way. Right? And you're just like, screw it. I'm going to get into mountain biking, or whatever.
For sure. And I think I want to give like a lot of props to dudes like Mark is a great example. Torstein's a great example. Like they set the bar for like, hey, this triple cork has never been done before. I'm gonna do it.
Sure.
Like that, like fucking badass motherfuckers. Like that is crazy. And I think
takes a lot of cojones to do it.
For sure.
And to try it the first time.
I think you can really make it like the jumps are so good and so like people like Charles Beckinsdale are making jumps so safe and good to learn new stuff on these days. Like you really can make a 1440 look stylish and look good. Like Torgeir Bergrim did a back 16 to the bottom of the Saas-Fee jump. It was grab mute, but he tweaked the shit out of it, held his grab the entire time, landed in the bottom, stomped, no like straight line out of it. Like that is sick. Like it is freaking cool. It's amazing. Like I like to watch stuff like that. Like Mons did a switchback 16 as well. Like insane. But I don't think that you need a line like 4 of those in a row. I think that it turns like I think you could ask Stolly. I think he gets a little dizzy on these contest runs from time to time.
Yeah, it seems like that. What was I going to say here? I had a point. Go for it, Beef. Jump in here. You distracted me at the last second there.
I distracted you at the last second? That's bullshit, Sullivan.
No, the answer got all interesting.
All right, let's go into. We like to do some things. We like to do kind of the top threes at a certain point in the show, maybe for the last 15 or 20 minutes. Tell me, who are the top 3 people you like to just like go out and shred with? Maybe not even film with, but just to go riding with.
No, like it's tough, man. I can't pick a top 3. That's like picking like the dudes who are going to be at your wedding on, like you got to pick
who's your favorite kid?
Friends.
Who's going to be your best man?
I couldn't do. I'm not going to have one. It's just like, yo, these are the homies. Like I can't do that. I don't know. There's there's high school homies.
Right.
I'm bad at that.
Where was high school for you?
High school, Torrey Pines High School / homeschool a little bit. I'd kind of like take off in the winter. Mom would teach me, and then come back to public school at the end of the year. Kind of little.
Torrey Pines in California. Where's Torrey Pines at?
It's Southern California, San Diego, North County, San Diego. So right like Del Mar, Encinitas zone. Okay. La Costa Canyon is Encinitas. Torrey Pines is kind of like Del Mar. Del Mar zone.
Okay. All right. Sully, you got a top 3? Hit it.
Okay. Let's see. What are your top 3 tricks that you filmed?
Top 3 tricks I filmed. That's a little easier. I gotta say, number 1. I'll go with, let's go number 3. Number 3 was probably the trick that's gonna be in, number 3 was the back 3 manual that Stolly did.
Ooh, one of my favorite tricks ever.
It was crazy. Number sick. 2 is gonna be Torgeir's switchback 5 that I posted yesterday.
I have to look at that because that's my favorite trick ever. The other one.
Yeah. It's not the X Games one.
It is the X Games one.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't really care too much about reposting if it's something like that. It's like that needs to be seen again. And then number 1 is gonna be it was the trick and it was the shot that we filmed for Stolly's project that you got to see.
We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. We were about as close as you could possibly. You actually couldn't be closer. His board covered up the entire camera when I was in front. It was crazy.
Wow. Okay, what are your 3 most viewed clips of all time? Does it correlate directly what you think is rad and what people watch, or is it just
it's pretty sick actually? Most viewed or okay, so there's like a different, on Instagram you get engagement views, and then there's like views, but it didn't have as much engagement because it like got on the explore page or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the most, I don't really count the view ones because it, that's like that's a weird algorithm that I don't really think you can't pick it. But the most viewed one was Stale's back 12, cab 12, front 12 from Absolute Park.
Mm-hmm.
The most engaged clip of the year was Stale's method from Fauna. And then the second most engaged was the back 3 wheelie. And then the most viewed and engaged clip of the year on Snowboarder magazine was Stale's back 3 wheelie.
Yeah. I agree. Those are the ones I like. And a method, she said, made one of the top engaged things, which is actually pretty cool that people are, once again, the viewers are speaking, right? They're speaking with their eyes, and their eyes say method equals good.
And that is cool. That is what's up, I think it's like, if you can show a guy like Stale who has one of the better methods in modern day snowboarding, I would say. I'm not going to say the best because there's no, I mean, Nico and Terrier have the best methods. Let's be honest there.
Yeah. You actually have a pretty good method. I've seen a couple photos of you. You kick it out briefcase.
No. I try.
It's humble.
I watch a lot of good methods, so I do my best impersonation. But I think it's cool. It's like if you can show something as simple as a method in 240 frames a second. I haven't ever like posted it just because it's a little too long for like a video or an Instagram. But maybe I'll just do it right after this. But just Stale's method in raw 10% slow mo. I mean, it's wild. It's like a 30 seconds of every knit grit and in that trick, and I think that's cooler to me than the same thing in a 1440. I think that's you really see the tweak. You see where his body language. It's beautiful. It's the
nuance.
It's up.
It's in the nuance of it.
I think it's a collab of like how you view it in the trick.
Right. Okay. What are your 3 favorite snowboard videos of all time? Which ones like kind of put you on this path and made you inspired you to this day?
I have like a really bad memory, but like I'm really impacted by recent stuff. I'll go like 1 old, 2 new. I want to say like Subject Hawkinson. Like, I recently like watched it like a couple days ago, and it's just so rad to see like that style of filming.
Yeah, episode 2 of our thing, we interviewed the guy who made that. He's got some crazy stories, like how Terrier, Gooch, and him almost died all in a car crash.
Oh my gosh!
The history of snowboarding would have been changed forever. They lost the brakes on the limo going down the mountain like in Loveland and almost crashed.
No way.
Yeah, check it out. Episode 2. Yeah,
that's sick. So, I totally will. So I'm gonna say like that's number 3. There's so many good ones. I want to say I really enjoyed like recently today the new Vans movie. I watched it, Nick Baden, and I actually watched it on his birthday last night, and I watched it again this morning. I think that's on par for me with Landline. That was a great movie, and I think
we're talking Together Forever, that film, right?
Together Forever, amazing movie, tearjerker with Dylan.
Right.
I'm like a really like weirdly emotional person, and like I didn't know Dylan. I'd seen him obviously. So I think we said hi one time, but I always loved watching his snowboarding. I thought in Landline he absolutely murdered it, and with Cole Naven. And then it just like to see Together Forever, like the song, when that song hit is the last the Ender song, it was just I was tearing up. It was like, holy shit, man! Like it's hard to watch someone who's not with us anymore snowboard and his smile and just like energy. And then top spot, I'm gonna give it to Future Yesterday. I've probably seen it 20 times and it's downloaded on my computer. It's great. I thought
that was my favorite this year.
I thought that should have won Movie of the Year. Kazu killed it as well with Kamikaze, but the boys in Future Yesterday did exactly what we've talked about. They did it the right way. They showed how fun it is to film a snowboard movie. Theo murdered it on the storyline and the editing. I mean, it was insane. I loved it.
Yeah. I think that was my favorite movie as well. Not that it matters, but I was really inspired by just the creativity throughout that.
Oh my God.
That movie. So
and I mean, was really like fun. Any movie with Haldor is, it's a kind of a little unfair having him in your writer list. You kind of know who's getting the Ender before the movie starts.
Right. For good reason.
Oh, I mean, he's got, I think every part he's filmed, he's had an Ender in the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's been pretty inspirational to watch his career for like the last decade. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, what else is going to end? The thing is, it's so exciting because you don't know what's going to happen next. And that to me is one of the exciting things about snowboarding, the unpredictability of it, you know, where it's not just like, hey, what's this guy going to do on the big air jump? Oh, another triple 14. Well, did he go bigger? How was his stomp? Right? I know he grabbed mute or stale or front side or whatever. It's like, but it's like really you can count on it basically being more or less the same. Whereas Haldor, you have no idea what's coming next. Yeah, you know. And sometimes I feel that with Stale too. You know, he does a lot of creative stuff.
Haldor, I mean, like Fauna, he did so many insane tricks in such a short amount of time. Like all of his tricks were filmed in an hour. Like
really,
the second day he like ate shit on a switchback 5 and like broke like a binding and like 2 boards, and then was just like out of all of his gear and like hurting and like didn't ride. So all the stuff was filmed the first day, and first try does the back 3 method pullback. I like shit my pants. I was like, what did I just film right now? Like, thank God I filmed that in slow-mo, 240 frames. Like, that was fucking crazy, dude. Like, that was insane.
Rad. Well, hey, so there are so many kids out there that are watching these Instagram videos of you and Stale and all your riders, and they look up to you guys, and most certainly, I'm sure many of them are wondering, well, how the hell do I ever get into something like this? Give me kind of 3 little tidbits of advice you would give to, that guy that's going like, well, maybe I'm not going to be the pro snowboarder, but I could be the filmer, you know?
Yeah, I think honestly, in like if you want to be a pro snowboarder, I think in the sense just if you figure out a way to do it your own way, you know? Like Renee is a great example. Has like the most infectious personality in the world, on top of the ability to do all these crazy tricks, but at the same time he's like going out and films 10 projects and putting stuff out that really hits at home. And then I think doing it your own way is really at the end of the day, whether you're filming or snowboarding or doing a podcast, like it really, like in this day and age of like ever-changing media, it's like as long as you can grab people's attention in a good way and you have an original idea, go for it, run with it. Like there's no I think it's high risk, high reward on kind of anything in life, right? There's no sure path. So if you're passionate about it and you believe in it, why not go for it?
And you most certainly risk quite a bit just kind of taking that leap and just going like, fuck finals, I'm out of here. I'm going with Stale.
Yeah. I don't know. I was really passionate about, I was actually like a finance major in school, and I just found it's not, I actually probably will go back to school at some point, because like I really am like just like infatuated with like numbers and business and all that stuff. But
I wouldn't have guessed that.
No, I love numbers, and I love doing stuff
college
like that.
Girls.
And but yeah, I don't know. I just kind of was super passionate about like filming and doing that stuff, so it kind of happened.
Right on.
Cool.
Frankie just walked in. He distracted me.
Sully, you got any other questions for Spencer here?
Yeah, I mean, like, where are you going to be in 10 years? You said you might go back to school. Are you going to be back in New York City, kind of walking the streets of New York? Or are you going to be filming, creating new kind of media projects? Where do you see yourself going in the future?
I just hope I survive tomorrow. I mean, like, that's all we can really hope for, I think. Like, why think 10 years in advance when you never know that you're going to even have it tomorrow, you know? I think we've learned a lot from that. There's been a few people who've passed away in our industry over the last 5 years. And, you know, I've had a lot of close friends, even at school, that, you know, like 2 of my friends got hit by trains just like super randomly. And like, you never really know what's around the corner. And especially like Brock is like one of my best friends. I've known him since he was a super little Grom, 9 years old at Mammoth. I mean, he almost got killed in an avalanche. Just not even riding. He was, you know, walking towards the cornices. And I think it's really rad what, you know, Sage is doing, getting his like woofer like class and really like really inspiring to see someone like Sage be so cognizant and stress the importance of snow safety and all that. So I think for me in the near future, I really just want to like learn more about snow conditions, take all the AVI classes. If I'm going to go out and film backcountry, be at least as knowledgeable as I can possibly be. Like Sage told me a story that like the bald-faced class, the guide that was there knew Craig Kelly, and Craig had known so much about snow and was actually skeptical about the snow conditions that day, but the guide they were with told them it was good, and Craig goes and rides that zone and gets taken out. So I think you really don't know what's around the corner in life, and you really just got to live it.
Right. Well, I'd like to end this on a positive note, so I have a final question for you. So, I mean, you've been all over the world. You filmed the best riders in the world, but you were also an athlete before you started doing that. What was your favorite day of filming or riding ever? Like your favorite day? Describe it to us.
Fauna.
Just your best day of snowboarding. That day.
I think Fauna, Sage, and I were lapping. It was just me and Sage, actually. I think Stale was lapping too, but then Stale like took a break, and I think it might have been just Sage and I, and we were both on the sled just like, dude, it doesn't get better than this. This is snowboarding. I like did a sketchy method and then an Indy the next lap, and Sage was doing sick front threes and back ones, and I think like Dasha Nosava took all the photos from that session, and I think if you just go look at that, it's pretty easy. But that was one of the most special, memorable moments of my entire life, I think.
Cool.
Really cool.
Well, I think we should wrap it up there. I'm sure Beav and I could sit here and talk to you for another hour and a half. But
right?
It's getting late. It's getting late in Switzerland, right? So, but thank you so much. I mean, really, what an honor to talk to. The guy, and like you thought they were making fun of you when they started calling you the Gimbal God. I think that's actually a title you've earned over time, whether they were making fun of you or not in the beginning. So thank you so much for your time. I think that you are an inspiration to both the current and future generations of people involved with snowboarding. So thanks again.
For sure. Thank you, Spencer.
I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. It means a lot, guys. And thank you so much for having me on the podcast. It's awesome. Yeah, I feel really honored. That's cool.
The honor's ours for sure.